Alright, back at it today. A guy has messaged me off Facebook from a YouTube video actually, which is pretty cool. He wants to get everything done. He wants to get new front pads, rotors up the front. He wants to get shoes up the back. He wants to get braided brake lines. He wants to get his wheel cylinders done. So this is going to be a pretty big job, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to do it.
What's in this box. I don't know why they gave me like 2 sets, because I think the rears are hard.
So the rears that go to the drums, you don't see them actually go to the drums being hard lines. You see them halfway between near the diff.
Oh, okay.
So they'll be there, and obviously you got these ones that are for the front. I did a 2018 Triton, and he supplied essentially all the same thing. He got that Bendix like 4-wheel drive kit where you get everything in it, blah blah blah, flush everything, all the rest of it. One of the massive differences a lot of people don't realize is if your shoes aren't adjusted properly, the amount of play you have between the shoe and the drum makes a huge difference on pedal feel. So that's why when I do it as well, what I'll do is not only will I obviously chuck everything on, chuck all the lines on, bleed it, because everyone's like, well, there's no air in the lines, so it should be good. Well, the massive problem, beautiful. Well, the massive problem is it's not so much that, it's the actual distance where the shoe has to travel to the drum.
Before it touches it.
Yeah.
And
so
that's why I got you, man, because I've never done drums.
Yeah.
I'm a bit of a DIYer, but I've never done drums, and I thought, well, you know what? Just get it done and get it done properly.
Yeah. I'm just explaining to customer. He found me on YouTube actually and hit me up on my Facebook page. Here is the Facebook page if you want to contact me. We're just talking about longevity and the brakes, this, that, the other. So anyway, everything has to be clean, man. Like if it's not clean, shit doesn't move, shit gets stuck, and then you get premature wear. That goes for the slide pins, that goes for the actual guides, that bloody ripper. All right, we're changing the fronts first. Now he was complaining he was getting a bit of shudder when he was braking. He said it came and went, this, that, the other, but he said, look, I just want to get it all done. Pads aren't too bad. The reality is the pads are probably about 50%. They are a Bendix pad, which I definitely like. So anyway, let's clean this up. Now, everything's actually quite clean compared to a lot of 4-wheel drives you'll see. This is probably the Bendix heavy-duty brake pad in there still. Thus, we don't have like a crazy amount of dust, but we're still going to go over everything the way we do. Bolts are out. Pull this thing towards you so you can take it off easy. Only my number because I ain't going anywhere until this job is done. Let's have a look what's going on here. Yeah, these were a Bendix pad too that were in there.
Oh, okay.
So
is there much meat on it?
Yeah, probably about 50%. But in saying that, the rotor does look a bit how you're going. I think maybe it was pad slap. I don't know when you bought it. Did you say you had done this when you bought it, or you haven't touched the brakes?
No, I haven't touched the brakes.
Yeah, so I think it might have been pad slapped. The slides are moving nice. There we go. At least they use the actual correct grease. So as you can see, these pads aren't crazy low, but in saying that, if we're going to be going through new rotors, whatnot, obviously we're going to be changing them because we don't want to have any issues in the future.
See you, mate.
See you, dude. Enjoy your day. Speaking of changing them, you're going to need a way to push these in. Here's my brake ratcheting spreader tool. Works awesome. There are many ways you can do this. You can use a G-clamp, you can use a screwdriver, you can use whatever you want to do this. This is just the way I do it. If you want one of these, I sell them, so check the link down below. You just chuck it in. Make sure to take the brake reservoir cap off before you compress the pistons, as you want to have the brake fluid be able to overflow if it has been overfilled. In that note, keep an eye on it too, because a lot of the times people will fill the brake fluid reservoir up, and then when you compress the pistons, it will overflow. And just as easy as this, you just wind it in, push it all the way back in. From there, put it in reverse, and pull it out. Now we got to clean this. Don't be shy, hit it with some brake clean. At the end of the day, the cleaner your work is, the longer the parts will last. And these are good quality parts he's given us, so we'll throw this here. Now remember, we are going to be changing the brake lines to stainless, so Now, don't know if I'm capturing this, but you can see all of this brake dust. This needs to be cleaned, and then you need to pull this guide plate off and then clean underneath that as well. Now, turn this thing to the side. You can see all that brake dust here on the ground. It's a good idea to blow it away, because at the end of the day, if I get brake fluid on it, well, it's going to create a stain. So you see here, take these slide pins out, clean them up, get all that old crap off it. Now this is a grease from Bendix, funny enough, so this car will be fully supplied with Bendix stuff. Now you're going to throw that in, you're going to spin it a bit, make sure it moves freely and that there's no air pockets. Same with this one here. As you can see, not the worst, but definitely due to be cleaned up a little bit. I'll chuck a little. Anyway, from there, now this is ready to go straight back on, no mucking around. Just like that, it's come off. Pull it off, have a look. Look, it's got a couple of heat spots here and there. Again, you never know if this is from before the pad slap or after, but don't have to worry about that anymore. So this surface is very clean, which is a good sign, but I'm just going to go over it. The reason we're going to go over it is you definitely want to have, like, look at the difference here. Look at the difference in this nice clean mating surface for the rotor versus this here. You don't clean that stuff off, you can potentially, not always, get some shuddering, shaking and issues in the future. Now look, this isn't totally necessary. As you know, I'm a little bit pedantic about getting things clean. Because just ask yourself, where's this new brake dust going to go? If it can't go where this old stuff is, it'll just build up. So, ready to rock and roll. Now look, you don't have to do this with all cars. I am going to put a touch of anti-seize just around here, because you saw the rotor was stuck on before. It's not totally necessary, but this car may be seeing some salt water and stuff. So we've got to make sure for the next guy, he can take it off without damaging the hub. You don't want to put a crazy amount on, because it will fling its stuff everywhere when you drive. Now, it's essentially everything in reverse. So he's gone with these Bendix 4-wheel drive rotors. These are slotted and dimpled, geomat finish, so we'll have to burn that off. Obviously we're going to compare, make sure the rotors are the same size, which they are. If you look here, you can see the cooling vents are actually just the standard style you'll see on a normal brake rotor versus the Bendix. As you can see, they put a lot of thought and design in keeping this rotor cool and as efficient as possible, which is pretty cool. Here's the dimples and slots as well. Again, these are a geomat finish. What does that mean? It means it's painted. So instead of having oil on it from the factory, it's painted so it does not rust in storage. And obviously anti-corrosion and whatnot on the inside. Take your clean rag, wipe it down. I do it because I don't want to take any chances of contamination. A little tip to make reinstalling everything else easy. Chuck a little lug nut there. So now we can reassemble everything without the rotor moving around. Now this is where the benefit of having everything clean comes into play. Make sure to just double check your work by going over it with an actual hand tool. So now we know we won't have any issues. So now it comes time for us to install the Bendix heavy duty 4-wheel drive pads. Here is your brake pad wear indicator. They'll normally leave it about 2 mil. Although obviously you can adjust it back and forth to your preferred preference if you care about that. I don't touch it, I just leave it and make sure it's about as much pad wear as we're going to leave to about 2 mil. Now what you're going to do is take a touch, not a massive crazy blob, little touch like this. You're going to rub it slightly on the back of the surface here and just slightly here. The reason is because, I'll show you why actually, because this being the heavy duty brake pad has a different style metal backing plate, which is better than this, what I suppose you call a little bit more of a composite mixed in with being a bit of a metal. But you can see the point I'm trying to make here is, you see the indentation on this piston that's coming out of the caliper? That's gotten hot, that's bedded in, and when that happens, sometimes the pad doesn't release, therefore we'll get some squeaking, squealing, and as usual, premature brake wear. So don't do that. Get the good one. Now, again, you've seen me do it in other videos. This is important. Ready? See how easy that moves? That's what you want. You don't want it to be stuck and hard and not moving. Why? Because if it is, it cannot come off the rotor. And what happens? We wear out our brake pads quicker than we need to. Now just have a quick look, make sure nothing's fouling, blah, blah, blah. Aha, and this is why we look. You notice that guide is sitting there, but this guide is not. And this is why you have to check your work before moving forward. So let's fix it. So it's just as simple as pulling the brake pad out and reinstalling. And look, it moves just as smooth. Except now we won't have any weird scraping noise. Alright, now last thing we have to do is change this rubber brake line. Now look, this is going to be a little bit of a messy job for the most part, but that's right. Chuck your oil pan under there. Get these lines. Now, they did not come with new copper washers, but that shouldn't be a problem. We should just be able to clean up the original ones and it should work fine. I have done this before where I've changed on the Triton, a 2018 model, the rubber brake lines to stainless, and it made a massive difference. Obviously I adjusted the drums and this, that, the other, but it made a big difference in the pedal feel. It felt like a new Euro, like you'd touch it and man, it would pull up. So hopefully we get the same results for this guy. Like that, because it's going to be a nightmare to brake without it actually being mounted up. You're going to spill some brake fluid, don't freak out, yeah? Little 12 mil there. I'm going to pull this banjo out. This is going to really want to drain out. Chuck that to the side. Now we're going to work quick. Like that. Brake caliper, and it's full of old brake fluid, and I'm going to pour it into here. Again, avoiding getting any of this brake fluid onto the new stuff. Mock it up about there. Bend it that way. Get him in there. So that's on there. Some brake clean, because then we need to check for leaks and all the rest of it. Boom. The hand ratchet, whatever you want to call it, on this to tighten it down. Use an impact. You might strip the threads out. So that's about as tight as you need it. Don't forget we have this other clip that holds that other line in position. So we don't have too many issues with like paint peeling and all this kind of crap. I'll tell the customer to spray it all down. Alright, as you can see, it's all done. Now, I'm going to jump on the other side. I'll record a how-to with that one for anyone who might want to do this on their own, because essentially this is the Bendix upgrade kit bar some brake drums. So I'll jump on that side, record that in another video if you want to see that, so go look at the channel. But the next time you see me, I'll be at the back of the car and I'll be doing the shoes, wheel cylinders, cleaning everything up and replacing the last of the, and changing the rubber brake lines to stainless, because there are some at the back that need to be changed. So let's do that. Let's see what's going on. Now the drum itself was actually pretty loose, which is a sign that perhaps the shoes can be adjusted out a bit to help with that pedal feel. Now keep in mind, he wants the shoes done and wheel cylinders. We're going to assess what condition everything's in before we pull the trigger on doing that, because a lot of the time you never know with these drums if they haven't been looked at in a while. Initial inspection, not very dirty. Look, they're not that low, but let's get the new shoes to do a comparison. Quite clean, as you just saw. Very interesting. So the drum itself, there's no lip on it, feels very good. Doesn't feel like it's gotten very hot, scored up. Here are the new shoes. Now we had Bendix pads up the front, so it'll be interesting to see if these are just factory or Bendix, because Bendix do have their markings here, but here's the comparison. I mean, they're wearing evenly. I mean, this one looks almost brand new. So this is the lowest point. I'm trying to get a good visual representation. They're not that low. Let's go up here. What I mean? Let's go up here. I'll check the rear shoe. See what I mean? Like, that's like brand new, that rear. It was really clean in there. And we saw those brake pads were changed up the front, so I hesitate to go ahead with it. Let me have a look and see if I can't find any part numbers on these things. Oh, here we go. What do we have here? Just got off the phone with the customer, explained everything to him. You guys saw the shoes are not low, they're not in bad condition, they're not pitting. The wheel cylinder is in good condition, no leaks, no sign of deterioration anywhere. And obviously you saw how clean it was when I pulled the actual drum off. Also, few markings up in here, so it looks to me like maybe this was even at the machine shop or something going on there. So I kind of had a chat and said, hey, listen, let's leave it. Let me pull the other wheel off, give everything a clean, adjust everything. I'll change these rubber lines to some braided ones, or stainless, whatever you want to call it. So we'll do that. I'm just going to give this a clean, because when these get rusty, they do not want to come off. Chucking a touch on this adjuster here. So when I adjust it, it does not seize in the future. Now, as you guys know, I always like to adjust the shoes when the wheel is actually on the car, so I get some rotational resistance, so then we actually know what we're dealing with there. You can tighten this down. Now we're going to do this one, but we'll do it like this. 1, 2, 3. There you go. It's done. So, as you can see, it's not really... You can see there's a bit too much play in it. Like, it's not really still even touching. There's another click. See, there is a good position to be. Now look, it's not just like stuck on. It is definitely now doing its job. All right, let's go to the other side. So this side's jacked up. Watch this. It's not really touching, is it? Alright, so after you've done topping up the brake fluid, you're going to need to pump the pedal a heap. Once you've pumped it a bunch of times, it's just going to feel soft no matter what you do, and this is where we have to bleed the system. Introducing the pressure bleeder. You open it up, find the cap that is the same, so that's not it. This looks close. Customer has supplied me with some Bendix brake fluid. So chuck this into the pressure bleeder. I'm going to just put in half a bottle to start. This is seriously effective. Now you may have to start the car. Sometimes it likes a bit of vacuum in the brake booster. But generally speaking, you should be able to get away with it. Alright, we're going to pump about 20 pounds into this. We do the rear left, rear right, front left, front right. Alright, done. Just bled it. Pedal feels pretty cool. I'm going to go for a spin. Doesn't appear to have any leaks, anything like this. Now, you remember the geomat finish on the rotors. We have to burn that off, as always. But this would be a good indicator of monitoring the brake fluid level. So when I go for a drive, I can visually see, hey, we're losing some. In saying that, in a hydraulic system, you really noticed quickly if you have a leak. And by that I mean not only through the pedal feel, but also through the actual place in which it will be leaking because of how pressurized it will be. I'll show you this. Look at that. Crystal clear .4. Remember that level, because that's what I'll be checking after the test drive. So remember this, because this is what we'll be checking. Alright, test drive time. Lee, if you're watching this, I shut the garage door, so no one's gonna break in. If there is a car wash around here, I'm actually inclined to go there and just clean everything up underneath. I ended up deciding I'm going to wash it anyway because it was just around the corner, so I'll clean up all this old brake fluid, number one, so we know if there's any leaks, and number two, so we don't have any corrosion issues. Brake rods have been cleaned and all of the residue that was there when I bled them. No, before anyone freaks out, I haven't bed the brakes in yet. They weren't hot, they weren't steaming, I just cruised here, so we do not have that problem with stinking hot brakes getting cold water on them and then they start to warp. Again, I only sprayed where the actual brake lines were, so we shouldn't have any issues there because they were not hot. Now I'm going to drive for about 5 minutes and then I'll go through my bedding in process, and then from there we'll head back and assess if we've lost any fluid, anything like this, but it feels good as so far. But again, we'll have to wait to get the customer's verdict because that's all that really matters, doesn't it? Alright, it's been about 5 minutes, give or take. Let's do a little brake test, shall we? So we're going from about 60 kilometers an hour, probably about 60% pedal pressure. I'm going to slow down to about 20 kilometers an hour. 3, 2, 1. Oh, that's good. Now she pulls up now. We'll do that a couple more times. Just cruised again for another couple of minutes, let everything cool down. Gonna go about 80%. This is only a 60k an hour zone, so that's what we'll have to do. So 3, 2, 1, someone runs out. Stop! Fuck it now. She pulls up now. That was not even 80%. I was worried to really slam my foot because you don't want the pad to be biting on the rotor incrementally while ABS kicks in. That pulls up good now. Again, I don't know what it was like before, but it doesn't feel like there's any issues. bonus content with the customer, Lee. He's stoked with it. So there you go. He reckons it was quite doughy, but you tell
Yeah, I used to put my foot down and feel like I was going to run out of brakes. Now I've got enough brakes and I feel like there's even more left there to brake. So very happy. Can recommend Andrew to anyone. He's an honest guy and great work. Thanks mate.
We have returned from the test drive. Step 1, check that brake fluid reservoir. Let's see. Oh, it's still exactly where it was before. I don't think we have any leaks, ladies and gentlemen, but we're not going to stop there. We're going to quickly check underneath the back and make sure that at least we've cleaned up most of what was dirty. So if it was going to be leaking, it'd be leaking through that fitting, which it ain't. That fitting, which you can't see because we're behind it, but anyway, and that one there. This is the rear left, we ain't leaking. Right, we ain't leaking, and this is why you clean it. As I said though, most of the time you will feel if the pedal is spongy. It just shouldn't be like that. And I mean spongy as in like it just will not hold pressure feeling. And that's the caliper banjo. No leaking. So that is a job complete. He wants me to chuck this exhaust system on. Unfortunately, the car's hot at the moment. Just got back from the test drive, so maybe I'll go for lunch and get it or come back tomorrow. Who knows? Anyway, if you like this video, like, subscribe, share it around. Brisbane, Gold Coast, Ipswich area. There'll be this Facebook page here. Send me a message through that and say you came through YouTube, and obviously I'm going to look after you either way, but extra brownie points if you come through YouTube. Anyway, again, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.